And another first, I've got to say, I've seen for Streak Week. I've covered a lot of parades in my career, but I've never seen someone actually changing the head of a drum as they're marching down the way. They don't want to stop for anything, and so the one snare drum blew through the head of the drum, and the band assistant was there literally changing the drum as they kept marching. You see all kinds of things during Streak Week. Another break in the traffic here. There are more bands, more baseball players, more politicians, as they do in parades. And Cal Ripken coming up in just a little bit. I hate to say it, I'm not sure where I'm tossing to now, but we'll toss to whoever I'm supposed to toss to. Listen, Dave, back to you, I guess.
All right. Thanks, Frank. Right on target. All right, and we're going to take a break, and we will, of course, check in once again with Frank and Gerry and Carolyn standing by at different stages on the parade route when we come back.
All right.
I did something for myself that I should have done a long time ago. I had breast reduction surgery. My bust was so big I always tried to hide it. I couldn't find clothes that fit, and the back and shoulder pain was awful. But my insurance helped pay for the surgery, and now, no more pain, no more hiding, and my clothes fit. What a load off my chest.
For more information, call the plastic surgery specialist at 1-800-266-2060.
Shannon Faulkner fought for 2.5 years to enter the Citadel. A week later, she quit.
This is something I had worked for so long.
Beverly Hurd testified in court that at age 16, she had sex with Congressman Mel Reynolds.
Just that I want people to be aware of what goes on, what happened.
What really happened? Both claim that there's more to their stories. Shannon Faulkner and Beverly Hurd answer your questions live next on a new season of Oprah. Join me today at 4 on TV 11.
Got a problem but no answers? Look to WBAL TV's 11 and You. You'll find your solutions there weekdays between 11 and 1 at 338-6665.
How many ways are there to enjoy life on a Lark three-wheeled scooter?
Hundreds of ways. When the going gets tough, the tough go shopping. That's me on my Lark.
Here, try one of these. This is my idea of a little bit of heaven, and my Lark puts me here.
You're doing real well, Kiki, and so am I, thanks to my Lark.
People said I wouldn't be able to get around like I used to, but my Lark and I, we do just fine.
My Lark taught me I could keep on learning and growing.
Hey, you did it, Tommy! Looks like Lark's got me acting like a kid again.
How about you? Isn't it time you got some mobility and freedom back into your life?
Join the club!
For a free Lark brochure, call 1-800-554-8000. 1-800-554-8000.
We're back now with you, and we want to toss back to Frank Graff. The parade has been underway for just about 20 minutes now, but the guest of honor, Cal Ripken, has not yet shown up. Frank, any Cal sightings yet?
Well, Cal saying yes. I think we see him just coming down the about a block or so away. The parade that has been 13 years in the making, I think you could safely say, is winding down. It's going to be here in just a couple minutes. Let me talk to a couple other fans here. We have one fan who's just not quite sure how to hold that sign there. Hi there, how are you?
You getting sleep?
She's speechless over the whole streak. Let's talk to Dad. How you doing?
Okay.
What's your name?
William Gilliam.
William, what brings you out here today?
Cal fan, Oriole fan, you know. All-around guy, you know. You can't help but come down.
What's so special about Cal? It's kind of what we've been asking a lot of people. What does he represent to you?
I mean, he's pure, he's down to earth. I mean, he's not one of those big, way up, high solidity kind of sports. You know, everybody else, you know, they get up on a pedestal and they don't want to come down and, you know, think they're the best thing that happened in the sports world. And Cal's not like that. I mean, he's down to earth. You know, he enjoys everybody, and fans enjoy him.
Super, very good. I'll tell you, we'll let you get your camera ready and get your daughter placed with her sign, because here comes Cal. Thank you. The guest of honor, the new Iron Man, as the headline in the paper said, the immortal Cal is just about here. I'm sure he's enjoying this. I'm also equally sure he is stunned by all this attention, because he has tried so long not to make the streak a big deal, and he said all along, this is not why I'm here. But here he is, and we'll just let you listen and just enjoy this crowd.
I want you to take a look at this. The parade is just getting to us, just barely at Pratt Street now. The Oriole Bird can't even get down Charles Street because of all the people. Look at this. In the middle of the street, I've never seen anything like it. Thousands of people from where we are at the Convention Center all the way up to the Washington Monument. The parade moving along at a very slow pace. The Honor Guard right behind the Oriole Bird, and people are just coming out of their offices in their suits, and they're just not worrying about anything today except to celebrate this very historic day with their own hometown hero, with Cal Ripken. You can see they're just coming down to Pratt Street now. They've closed that off, and the crowd is closing in, I think, wanting to get as close as they can, not only to Cal Ripken, but to all of the other Orioles players that are taking part in this big parade today.
Carolyn, I tell you, the parade is just finished. It just passed us, and it was just a, I hope you were able to see it. It was just a magic moment when Cal came through with his wife Kelly and their two children, Rachel and Ryan. That was just really, really neat. The crowd is dispersing now, but for one moment, everyone just froze, and they're just everyone was just waving and screaming, "Hey, Cal!" And you can see the end of the parade now. It was a magic moment. William. Talk to William. We talked to just before Cal got here. What did you think?
I didn't get a good shot because too many people were in the way, but what I can expect. I'm going to try to follow him down and see if I can catch him down at the harbor.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, worth the day off.
There you
Tell
go.
my boss that.
Thank you very much. Listen, Dave, let's go back to you.
All right, Frank, thank you very much. Well, of course, everybody's still talking about last night's incredible game. Not only did Cal break the record, he also hit a home run. He launched a rocket into the left field seats in the fourth inning, and the crowd exploded. And a man from Pasadena, Brian Johnson, became a part of history. He caught the home run ball and was immediately surrounded by Orioles officials.
That guy, Brian Johnson, has not been asleep since last night. He was up all night, and very early this morning, about 2:30, as I recall you telling us earlier, Brian, you were somewhere inside the stadium in a private meeting with the entire Ripken clan and did the amazing thing, returned the ball to Cal. How come you did that?
That's right. Well, as I mentioned then, this is Cal's moment. And, you know, when they asked me as soon as we went back, and as soon as I caught the ball and went back, they asked, what did you want? And I said, I just want to meet Cal. I just want to give him the ball. It's his moment.
Were
He
they kind of
deserves
surprised?
it.
That's all you want, just to meet Cal?
I don't think they knew what to expect, actually.
You must have gotten, did you get offers for it immediately?
Immediately. In fact, as soon as I caught the ball and I was heading up, I think I took one step, and there was a person out there with a rather substantial wad of money saying $3,000, I'll give you $4,000, I'll give you $5,000, how much do you want? And he kept saying that with each step we took.
Were you tempted at all?
You know, I really didn't think about it at the time. I mean, I really just kept focused on the fact that this is Cal's moment. I wanted him to have the ball for that. Yeah. It's maybe in retrospect, but no. No.
So about 2:30 this morning or so, you had a private meeting with the entire Ripken family. Tell us what happened.
Right. It was about 2, maybe a little bit later than that, 2:30. I met in what's called the family room back there with there was the Ripken family, and I think Brady Anderson was also there, and Cal, and I met Cal, and I just talked to him a little bit and congratulated him and gave him the ball, and and we had a nice little talk, and he thanked me, and then actually as his thank you, he provided me with a bat which I brought, with a baseball bat of his with an inscription that he put in there this time, which just says, "Brian, thank you very much for the ball. It means very much. It means a lot to me. We both share something."
The same memory.
The same memory. Home run on 9/6/95, Cal.
Wow. Well, that's certainly one of a kind. I mean, there are a lot of those baseballs around, you know, but that's a one of a kind.
And and also signed a baseball, and he was terrific. And he's just as you see him in any, you know, when you meet him in person, it's just the same as when you see him on TV. He's just a very nice, down-to-earth.
So you're a happy guy with this situation.
I'm very happy. I feel very lucky.
This is not for sale, right?
This is definitely not for sale.
No. Don't bother with those big wads of money. He wants to keep that bad. I don't blame you. Keep your hands off that silver. Don't let it ever get smudged.
That's true.
That's terrific.
Brian, you need some sleep. Been up all night.
I really do. I'm hoping to get some sometime tonight.
Thanks for sharing the bat with us. That's one of a kind. You made the right decision, by the way.
Yeah, good story, Brian. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
All right.
And we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go away.
For the kid in you, mark your calendar for Sunday, September 17th. That's when Oregon Ridge Park hosts Sunday in the Park, this area's biggest family fun day. From noon to 6 p.m., you can ride in a hot air balloon, see skydivers and classic cars, and dance to the 50s music of Gene Vincent. Tickets are only $5, free for kids under 12, and are available at the gate. Proceeds benefit the Baltimore Association for Retarded Citizens. For details, call 296-2272. Brought to you in part by WBAL-TV and your Baltimore Subaru dealers. Here's why everybody's headed to the Anne Arundel County Fair.
Excellent food. Amazing animal. Awesome entertainment.
Join the fun September 13th through the 17th at the fairgrounds in Crownsville. Take 97 South to exit 5 in Crownsville. Stay on Generals Highway. Stop by the WBAL-TV mobile newsroom for your picture with an 11 News personality. Sponsored by Mick New Culligan and Super Fresh. Scream and lots to do at the Anne Arundel County Fair.
Without a good window remodeling plan, anybody can get in a little too deep. Before you remodel, plan ahead at your Anderson Window Center store, where we'll guide you through everything, from replacing windows to putting in patio doors. At Anderson Window Centers, we help create all the home you want to come home to.
For a free catalog, call 1-800-922-8060.
By the end of the day, my leg would be throbbing. That wound just never healed. I never go to the doctor. For over a year, I figured it would just go away. And then I hear about the Wound Care Center, where they treat non-healing wounds. The folks there were great. They set me up with my own treatment program. Within a few months, my wound was completely healed. I'll tell you, I haven't felt this good in a long time. The Wound Care Center gave me back an important part of my life.
Greater Baltimore Wound Care Center with GBMC 356-5566.
All the training, the dedication come together in an event of Olympic proportion. Join me for the 5th Jockey International Jim Palmer Celebrity Golf Classic presented by The Money Store and American Airlines. An exciting star-studded event with great golf and dinner, plus silent and live auctions of sports memorabilia on September 18th at the Turf Valley Country Club. So call 771-9000 for information. Join TV11 and our sponsors in the fight against cystic fibrosis. Let the games begin.
Back now to our live coverage of the celebration parade and Carolyn McEnroe. Carolyn?
Hi, here come Mark Lee and Terry Clark. Phil Regan, manager, just went under us here at the convention center, and they're going really slowly. They're signing autographs as they go along. As you can see, people are actually walking out into the middle of the street to shake their hands. We'll see if we can get them to wave at the camera when they come by. Hi, guys. Mark, Terry, hello. Hi, guys. Can we get you to wave at the camera? They're not looking up. Well, everybody else has been waving to us, but they're not. You can see they're stopping and letting traffic go through Pratt Street every once in a while here. They've got some police out here now. It looks like they're trying to move the crowd out. There's so many hundreds of people out here that they're just crowding out into the street. You can see they're moving them over so that we can continue the parade. In the meantime, the players, as you can see up there, stopping, taking an opportunity to sign a few autographs. And we think we can see Cal's float way, way up there, kind of by the Washington Monument. So we'll throw it back to you for now.
All right, thanks, Carolyn. We will in turn throw it, I think, if we can, to Gerry Sandusky, who's at the end of the parade route down at the amphitheater at the Inner Harbor. Gerry?
Miller, the voice of the Orioles, their phenomenal play-by-play man, is standing at the microphone in the middle of the dais, and he is just beginning to talk to the crowd, saying the parade should wind its way down here to the Inner Harbor in just a few minutes. And as you take a look at the crowd that has now formed on both sides of us, the crowd now stretches in both directions across the pavilions, both to my left and to my right. It numbers in the thousands, and you can hear the music now beginning to blast. Everyone has been handed one of these white banners. It says, "Congratulations, Cal," from Mayor Kurt L. Schmoke and the citizens of Baltimore. And I have a feeling this will create yet another dramatic moment here in the Inner Harbor. When Cal shows up, we will see a glistening sea of white on this sunny, hot September day that we will certainly remember for years and years to come. As we reflect back on history, back in 1954 when the Orioles first arrived, then too they had a parade that brought the entire city out, and then the city celebrated with great anticipation. Today the city celebrates great accomplishment, and as I look at the crowd that has gathered here in the Inner Harbor, I reflect back on the feelings that I experienced the last 2 nights at Camden Yards, and what a magical magnet moment Cal has created, many moments now over the last 3 days, in his ability to draw this entire city together. This has far transcended a sporting game. It has gone way beyond a mere event. This has been a magnetizing event that has drawn together blacks, whites, men, women, the young, the old, the healthy, the infirm, who have all come together to celebrate this remarkable accomplishment by one man, but also to celebrate the simple joy of living in Baltimore during this accomplishment. Frequently, after a great sporting event, you will see the star of that event, say Steve Young in the Super Bowl, come up to the camera and say, "I'm going to Disney World." Well, today, Baltimore is Disney World. Liz and Dave?
Well said, Gerry. Absolutely. Thanks very much, and we'll be checking back in with Gerry. Cal, by the way, is scheduled to speak about 1:20 at the podium. Seems to be running maybe a little bit behind schedule.
Yeah, but we'll have it for you.
Yeah, we'll be staying with the parade.
The feeling we're missing something by being here instead of there.
Right.
No, heck no. I'm enjoying the 3 vantage points.
Well, yeah, we don't have to run around, you know.
Right.
One flash by and that's all you're going to see. But here you're going to see the whole 9 yards. That's right. Beautiful weather out there.
Yeah, and it's been great for Streak Week.
The only unfortunate part is we need the rain.
Yeah, we do.
So we got to get down to business here. All right. I'm afraid the chances are slim. But all right, we'll talk about that in a second. All right. How's your lawn doing? All right. Mine's a little brown. Got to use a lot of water. Right. There is the view of the parade and the temperatures that we have. This, great parade weather. 84 here at the studio. Airport 86. Jessup 87 on our InstaWeather network. Look at the humidity. Is that nice? 36%. Goodbye summer and all that heat we had in July and August, right? Southwest winds 10. 3002, the barometer showing a falling tendency right now. And temperatures around the region on our InstaWeather network. Ellicott City 85, Timonium 83, along with Millersville down in Anne Arundel County on the Severn River.
Things are going. Carolyn?
Hi, Liz. The big guy, the hero of the day here in Baltimore and across the country is just about 2 or 3 blocks north of us now. You can barely see that orange part of his float as he comes down toward the convention center here on Charles. Here come Chris Hoyles and Jeff Mano shaking hands as they go along. Again, people in the street waving to the cameras. And then we have the Baltimore trolley coming behind that. You can barely see back at the back if you look at the end of that shot where the traffic has started again behind the cow float with the big orange and white baseball. Look at this Humvee coming along here. Is that the, I'm trying to see if that's the Nike. It is, it's the Nike vehicle. It says Nike 1 on the license plate. That's what you need to get through this kind of a crowd. Thousands and thousands of people down here on Charles Street. I can't tell who's inside. They're honking at us. Just do it. We have a good view of that as we see as they come under the railing here at the convention center. I have to tell you, just a few yards away from here, all the Orioles' wives are getting together for a brunch today, and they're over kind of behind us now celebrating the day with a nice kind of quiet time as we're going along. We have some more players coming through here, again, shaking hands. Look at this. People just out in the middle. Clapping. They have their video camera. I'm sure you've seen the pictures. Here's Rafael Palmeiro. You know, he hit a big home run last night along with Cal and Bobby Bonilla. Taken a lot of time to shake hands with all these adoring fans. A lot of people who could not go to the game last night. So many people who wanted to be inside and share that moment with Cal Ripken and the rest of the Orioles team. Of course, as you know, they'll be getting on a plane after this on their way to play their next game going to Cleveland. So right after the parade's over, they'll be getting on the plane to head to play another game. Liz and Dave, we're back to you.
That is Chuck Thompson we think we see there, right?
I believe it is.
Tan shirt there?
I believe that's Chuck Thompson.
Yeah, all right.
Meantime, things happening down at the Inner Harbor at the amphitheater. Back to Gerry Sandusky, who's covering it for us there.
Dave, the very front of the parade has just now arrived at the amphitheater. Behind me now on the dais, you can see Mayor Kirsch Schmoke, Governor Glenn Denning, Orioles manager Phil Ripken. What a great year, or actually what a great week at least, to be the Orioles manager. It hasn't always been an easy year for Ripken, but he will have his place in history as the manager of Cal Ripken on the year Cal goes by Lou Gehrig. The gentleman in the suit next to Phil Ripken is Joe Foss, the vice president of the Orioles, and then a few of the Oriole players, the newcomers who have recently been elevated from Rochester, are now standing left to the left of Joe Foss and Phil Ripken. The gentleman waving the white banner is Al Bumbry, the B, former Oriole outfielder and now the Orioles first base coach. So the very beginning of this parade has started to build, and as you can see, the emotion is starting to build down here in the Inner Harbor, as well as the crowd will soon have the man they have come to see and come to hear. Cal Ripken should be down here in the harbor in about, I would say 5 minutes or so, as the rest of the parade winds its way down here towards its climax, the climax of not only today, but the climax of the last 3 fabulous days of baseball and celebration, and of course the climax of more than 13 years of one man's efforts that far transcend the simple white lines that establish the boundaries of the baseball field. Instead, Cal Ripken has established the boundaries of both decency and competency. He is not only the Iron Man, he is Baltimore's man, a man who has shown a remarkable work ethic and a man who has shown remarkable graciousness. And we will show you Cal when he arrives here in the Inner Harbor in just a few minutes. Liz and Dave.
Thanks, Gerry. Right now, Cal making his way down Charles Street. Carolyn McEnroe has a good vantage point, and let's switch back to her now live to get a better view. Carolyn?
You can see once again everybody coming through here, shaking lots and lots of hands as how they go by, getting lots of cheers. You know, he's the guy who had his own video camera out last night. He's coming under us now. He was taking shots of Cal Ripken. And as we look down the street, Cal's float is coming just about under Lombard now. You can see it moving this way again very slowly as everybody walks out into the middle of the street, basically stopping the parade as it goes by to shake hands. If Cal is still doing the same thing he was doing yesterday and the day before, then he's taking a lot of time to acknowledge all his adoring fans and shake hands and just say hi. For a lot of the people who didn't get to go to the game and a lot of people who were at the game last night, we're seeing lots of people out of school, lots of school students running up and down the street, people in their suits. Over here at the Nations Bank Center, we saw some confetti or something coming out of the window. This is kind of turning into a mini ticker tape parade for this hometown hero. Can you see Rick Dempsey coming down now? I actually saw him on the field last night in the uniform, waving to the crowd, and he's been signing a lot of autographs too the last few days. Being bombarded by fans, and they're shaking a lot of hands as they come through. They're getting a big cheer too. Rick getting a big cheer from the crowd. Hi Rick, how are you? We're watching the Cal float as it moves down, coming just under Lombard Street now, making its way down Charles, and then it'll go past here around and end up over by the amphitheater where Gerry is, where Cal will talk some more and give a speech before they head off to the next game. Who do we have coming down here now, Mac? Who do you have? This is a great vantage point, I might add. People were here as early as 10:30 this morning. We're up above. We have pitcher Scott Erickson coming up here. They're in the back of the pickup truck. Greg Zahn shaking hands here over on the other side. All riding in these brand new Chevrolet cars. As we said earlier, we were wondering if Cal Ripken was going to be driving his brand new red Corvette, but he's on this big, beautiful float that they prepared just for him.
Carolyn, it looks
I think
like
we have a shot of Brady Anderson now. Can you see him? Of course, good friends with Cal Ripken. They've spent a lot of time together, helping each other with their... Go ahead, Liz.
Carolyn, it looks like the tail end of this parade with Brady and then the car all the way back to Cal is going to be a little bit behind the rest of the parade. So any sign that they want to speed things up, or is this just the idea to let people along the parade route enjoy it and let it go at its own pace.
That is exactly right, Dave. As you can see, they're practically stopped now. And again, it's because people aren't paying any attention to what the police are saying. They're just coming off the sidewalk into the middle of the street, and you can't blame them. This is a great day for Baltimore, and everybody who's obviously the drivers are acknowledging as they all shake hands. And we'll go back to you for a minute. Be sure to come back to us now when Cal comes underneath.
All right.
All right, Carolyn, we'll do. And we'll switch live now to Gerry Sandusky standing by at the amphitheater where the parade will finally end up. Hi again, Gerry.
Liz, Baltimore is bubbling over here in the Inner Harbor as John Miller, the voice of the Orioles, continues to introduce various Oriole players and members of the organization who are now making their way to the podium. And, of course, the momentum continues to build as Cal Ripken works his way and will arrive down here in just a few moments. As I look around the crowd here this afternoon, I see literally hundreds of individuals who have taken either the afternoon or the day off so they can take part in this celebration. And perhaps that gives you some insight into the sacrifice Cal Ripken has endured for the last 13 and a half years. He has never taken a day off from work to take part in any event such as this, in a family event. He has had 2 children. He has had the good fortune that both of his children, while delivered during the season, were delivered on off days. He never missed a game there. No serious illness has ever felled Cal Ripken. Of course, he has put up with flus and colds and things like that, as we have all, but Cal has put up with them much better than most of us. So his 13 years of work and sacrifice now celebrated, ironically, by a city filled with people who are taking off from work here on a gorgeous September afternoon. That's John Miller at the microphone, the voice of the Oriole. You have heard him, of course, many times with his tremendous calls of Oriole action, and if perhaps you had a chance to hear him call the home runs that Cal hit over the last couple of games, those are baseball moments that will go down in the history, the annals of the great calls, of the great moments in baseball. But again, this far transcends baseball. This is about people. This is about Baltimore. This is about a moment unlike we have ever experienced before in this great town. Liz and Dave?
Hey, Gerry, talk a little bit while we're waiting for the rest of the luminaries there. Talk about what we're liable to see when the O's go on to Cleveland tomorrow. They can clinch this weekend, number 1. And number 2, going to be Cal and Eddie Murray back together for the first time since Cal became the Iron Man.
Dave, I'd be lying to you if I said I could hear much of anything you just asked me, other than just Cleveland, and the Orioles do have to go on to Cleveland, and I think that is going to be one of the more difficult things for Cal and his teammates to have to play baseball again after all of these 3 days of celebration. And of course, in Cleveland, Cal will be reunited with Eddie Murray. The significance of that is Eddie Murray played more games with Cal during his streak. I believe it was more than 1,300 of the games during the streak than any other teammate. And the player who has played the second most games with Cal during the streak is with Cal today, and that is outfielder Brady Anderson. So Cal will get to share this special day with Brady Anderson, and then tomorrow he will be reunited with Eddie Murray. And if you reflect back on the comments that Cal made during his speech last night following the game, Eddie Murray was one of the 4 people that Cal thanked, and Eddie was the only member outside of Cal's family that he thanked as being his mentor and his role model, helping to teach him how to play every single day, as Cal has done over these last 13 and a half years.
All right, Gerry, we'll be coming back to you. Right now, let's go back to Carolyn McEnroe on Charles Street. Cal is just about to make his way, I think, under the, there he is right there.
Hi,
Carolyn?
Liz, we've got the Morgan State band going on underneath. We always love it when they go by. And if you can see now, the man of the day, of the week, of the year, Cal Ripken and the Streak Week float coming under Pratt Street now, right on Charles, moving very, very slowly as Cal takes time to wave to all the fans who are out here to see him today. On the float with him, his wife Kelly, along with his daughter Rachel and son Ryan, who, as you know, helped to throw out the first pitch at that big record-breaking game last night. You can see the Orioles sign in Streak Week and the number 2131, the number we all are going to remember for a long time around Baltimore. And they're stopped now. They're not moving anywhere as the crowd is moving along. He has police escorts on each side of him and in front of him, and they're still not moving anywhere as the crowd just completely comes off the sidewalk to come over and get as close as they can to him. You know, this is really a great place to see him. We're waiting for him to come underneath, but all the people who went to the game last night, nobody gets this close as you can along the parade route. I'd be anxious to know how many thousands of people came out today to see him as he comes along. anxious to know if he took his daughter to school today. We've been hearing about how he did that yesterday. He's been trying to keep his routine as normal as possible, not only for a great baseball player, but for a father, too. And it'll be interesting to see what he's been doing this morning after such a long night last night, after the big post-game celebration, and then all the interviews. He was up in the wee hours of the night.
And the shot, Carolyn, I don't know how closely you can see the shot, but there we go as we zoom in. That's certainly testament to the fact that children can sleep through anything. Looks like 2-year-old little Ryan asleep on...
Yes, he's just had just about as much excitement as he can handle.
On Mom's shoulder there.
And Rachel has her sunglasses on like her mother does. Well, you can see the float, but all along there you can see the baseball along the bottom. It looks like kind of a green baseball field with lots of baseballs all around Cal. Again, you can hear all the police sirens and the escort, but people are moving out into the street again, practically being pushed over by the officers on motorcycles here, trying to get a real nice close glimpse of Cal as he comes underneath. I think this is the moment everybody's been waiting for today. Let's just watch. Trying to get him to look up, and he's going underneath. We were trying to get him to come up and wave to us, all the photographers, everybody waving at him, but he took the time to talk to Kelly just as they went underneath. Again, waving to all the people who are down there beside him, and the crowd is following him. They'll be on their way down to the amphitheater now, where they will make a speech and then be off to play the game in Cleveland. Back to you all.
All right, and we'll have it all live for you when Cal gets there. We'll have live coverage, and it all continues in just a moment.
Hello, America. Remember me? I am Alice Scott, and I lost 37 pounds on Jenny Craig. It takes action. I had to act. Are you happy with your weight? Are you bumping your head up against the wall? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Go ahead and give Jenny Craig a call today. Results start the minute you do.
Start Jenny Craig now, and you can lose 20 pounds for $20. Call 1-800-39-JENNY. That's 1-800-39-JENNY. Why wait another day?
Pick up that phone and call this number. You see it. You see it.
This is an Epic pharmacy. You know, your neighborhood pharmacy. Epic. You've been coming to this pharmacy for a while?
Oh, about 30 years, I guess.
10 years.
About 14 years.
30 years.
Have you heard of an Epic pharmacy before?
No, I haven't.
No, I haven't.
Is this going to be an Epic pharmacy now? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Parade headed north on Light Street and will finally disband at the Harbor Place Amphitheater. Let's check in with Gerry Sandusky, who is standing by right there now. Gerry, how's the schedule moving this afternoon?
Liz, the schedule is about, I would say 25, 30 minutes behind schedule, but at this point, absolutely nobody cares. Rick Dempsey, the former Oriole catcher, is now spelling out Orioles on the dais, and that is one more thing to ignite the crowd, and this crowd has grown to gigantic proportions. If you take a look at it, it stretches down both pavilions of the Inner Harbor. And then I want you to take a look up and down the entire stretch of the Trade Center. You can see workers have all come to the windows of the Trade Center as all of Baltimore now focuses on the amphitheater here in the Inner Harbor. And it was just announced that Cal Ripken, who put those big numbers on the warehouse wall and now on the Trade Center, 21-31, will finally make his way through the swollen crowd here in the Inner Harbor. You think you run into traffic when you have to come down on a work day. You can imagine what Cal has encountered here on this beautiful afternoon on a day Baltimore has set aside to celebrate what no man has ever accomplished before. Cal Ripken will be here in just a couple of minutes. Rick Dempsey, again, getting the crowd into it, but everybody's holding back just a little bit because they simply want to be a part of the moment when Cal arrives, and it was deafening to say the least for 22 minutes last night at Camden Yards. It will probably be equally as loud here at the amphitheater. Right now, I want to go to the podium, and the player who is stepping to the microphone right now is Brady Anderson.
Now, did you write that yourself?
I did.
I mean, you had no input, no help from anybody else?
Well, I sort of got George Will and Tom Boswell to edit it at the end. You got good help? Would you
Oh,
consider?
what do they know about writing?
Exactly, that's what I said.
All right, well, I mean, why were you the one that ended up delivering that tribute to Cal?
I don't know.
What happened on that fly ball in the first inning?
Dropped it. I think I see Cal's truck.
John Miller there making reference to the fly ball that Brady almost made a tremendous catch on in the first inning, but he dropped the ball as he crashed into the outfield wall, and it was scored as a home run. One of the few great moments the Orioles didn't produce over the last 2 days, but as you saw, the crowd laughed that one off, a moment that Baltimore very forgivingly is willing to let pass as the Orioles now await the arrival of the man of the hour, Cal Ripken, who should be here, I would imagine, in about the next minute or two, but it may take a little longer than that for Cal to make his way through what was an alley, a naturally forming alley that has now kind of sealed off as fans simply have overtaken the Inner Harbor, hoping to get a chance to touch Cal Ripken. It is simply remarkable. Over the last couple of weeks, we have seen everyone try to get an autograph of Cal, get near Cal, and it will simply build to yet another crescendo. It's almost like an orchestra that simply has no end, and no one wants it to end here in the Inner Harbor. This is Orioles pitcher Mike Messina, who is now at the microphone with John Miller.
Well, you said we needed something unique. Well, what do you get Cal? He has everything. And he probably has a lot of rocks, too. He doesn't have one that weighs 2131 and actually says 2131. So.
Was it a tough night to start? I mean, so much emotion, so much electricity in the air at the ballpark last night?
Yes, it was difficult. It was a big party, it seemed like, for a while. And I'm still kind of wondering how Brady missed the ball, actually.
Boy, he really let you down, didn't he?
Only 2 broken ribs? That was my fault, though. Honestly, it made Mark Smith look real good.
2 times in a row, yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone for coming, and thanks for supporting everyone. Thank you.
Now you pitched the top of the 5th inning last night, and then there was a 22-minute recess from the game while everybody celebrated the streak becoming official. Then the Orioles batted, and then you went back out. I mean, was that difficult? You had a long rest.
Yes.
In what way?
Many.
Name one.
I can't think of any right this minute.
How come you threw so many pitches last night?
Because I kept fouling the ball off and they wouldn't hit it to my players. Like Mark out and left. Line drive and catch him.
How many wins before the year's over? You won 16 now.
We understand that Cal Ripken has now just arrived at the mouth of the Inner Harbor at Light and Pratt Street, and now the big challenge for Cal will be somehow weeding his way through the thousands of people who have gathered here in the Inner Harbor to celebrate the climax of Streak Week and the culmination of one of the great accomplishments in baseball history. That's Mike Messina, the Orioles pitcher, having a bit of a jovial repartee with John Miller, and Messina has just announced that Cal has arrived, and it's interesting, suddenly the entire crowd has turned away from the podium, and they're all now kind of scanning toward the street to get an idea of how close Cal is. They have struck up the band, the music has begun, and now in just a few moments, Cal Ripken, if it is possible to weed his way through a sea of people, a sea of adoring fans, he will make his way to the podium. You may recognize the music that is now playing from the loudspeakers. That is the John Tesh composition that was played for the past few nights at Camden Yards as the numbers were unfurled game after game, marking Cal's approach, his meeting, and then his conquest of Lou Gehrig's Iron Man mark. And now the music builds, the emotion builds, and Cal Ripken begins to make his way through a sea of absolutely adoring fans in the Inner Harbor. It was interesting to hear John Miller and Mike Messina have a little bit of fun along with Brady Anderson as the emotion on the last couple of days brought the entire town to the verge of tears and at times beyond the verge of tears. So a little bit of comic relief was very much necessary for the Oriole fans today. It will be interesting to see if Cal takes the lighter note after his very gracious, his very eloquent, his very serious delivery last night to an adoring throng of nearly 46,000 fans who lingered long after the game to hear the words of a legend, words that will be captured, I am sure, and held on to very closely over the next 50 years, if not longer, because as you look back on the speech Lou Gehrig gave at Lou Gehrig Day at Yankee Stadium, lo, those many years ago, they remain very much a part of baseball history when he said, "This day I am the luckiest man on the face of the earth." Last night, Cal Ripken certainly echoed those sentiments as he also reflected back to the fans his great admiration for their support and for the gracious way that Baltimore fans and baseball fans all across this country embraced him over these last few weeks. And I think that is perhaps the unique fact that we have not touched on in Cal's ascension, is simply the fact that Cal was so humble, so giving to the fans. This was not merely Cal's accomplishment. He wanted it to be, and wants it to be, very much remembered as a baseball accomplishment, even a Baltimore accomplishment. It is not something he selfishly hoards, and I don't know if we can see it just yet, but Cal Ripken is now beginning to make his way through the crowd. Much like Moses at the Red Sea, the crowd is starting to part for Cal as he will make his way to the podium and address this. This is not merely a crowd. This is an entire section of the city, if not the entire city itself. I know everyone who could possibly be here today has somehow found a way to be here, because this is truly one moment in time, a moment unequaled in Baltimore or baseball history, a moment and a day we will hold on to for a long, long time. If you saw Cal during his celebration laps last night, he began the laps, he finished the laps by hugging and kissing his wife Kelly, his children Ryan and Rachel, and they accompany Cal here this afternoon at the Inner Harbor. So even though Rachel began school just a day ago, I suppose it's fair for Rachel to be able to play hooky a little bit as she celebrates this day with her dad and her mom and her little brother.
Ladies and gentlemen,
look at the expressions of awe on the faces of the Oriole players as they welcome their teammate, a man they are deeply honored to have shared this season with, this moment with, and of course this afternoon with. And here now on the podium, Cal Ripken. You see him shaking the hand of the bird, and he is receiving a very, very warm reception as he gets closer to the podium. A little later in this presentation, it will simply be thunderous. Take a listen to this crowd. This, of course, is Cal's day, but he will have to wait a little while, much as he had to wait a while before he finally went past Lou Gehrig. He will wait not quite 13 and a half years, but probably 13 and a half minutes, if not longer, before he makes his way to the microphone. There's a relatively long line of dignitaries who wish to make presentations to Cal. John Miller will continue to serve as the Master of Ceremonies. Mayor Schmoke has a presentation to make, and right now we'll go to the podium and the Master of Ceremonies, John Miller.
By Mayor Kurt L. Schmoke in the great city of Baltimore, generously sponsored by the Baltimore So let's get started. Here is the great mayor of the great city of Baltimore, the Honorable Kurt L. Schmoke.
Thank you very much, John. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to join with everyone, not only in this city and state, but throughout the country, in honoring Cal on the wonderful, wonderful occasion. We are here in the city of Baltimore declaring it Cal Ripken Day. And Cal, besides the proclamation, we have this centerpiece here, center stone, I'm sorry, that we're going to present right down here in the Inner Harbor with, it'll say Cal Ripken Jr., Baltimore Orioles, 2,131 games, September 6, 1995, right here in the promenade, forever and ever. Thank you, Cal.
Hey, now we have two Cal Ripkens. Ladies and gentlemen, Cal Ripken Sr. Hey, and we have two Mrs. Ripken. Cal's mom, Mrs. Vi Ripken. That means we have half the city of Aberdeen down here today. Welcome, Aberdeen. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, for a special presentation, the great governor of the great state of Maryland, the Honorable Harris Glendenning.
John, thank you very much. We're going to set a record here in terms of brevity so we can get on with our hero. But let me just say, number one, that Cal, we are all proud of you throughout the state, not just to Baltimore, and I'm very pleased to be here today to declare this Cal Ripken Day throughout the state of Maryland as well. Let me also say, you know, sometimes we think about these numbers and we say, well, how long is this? I was reminded of it last night. My son Raymond, who's 15 and a half years old, was there with us. He just went to get his learner's permit, and I thought to myself, you know, he was 2 years old when this streak started. Every box score that he has ever seen has had Cal's name in it, and that really tells you what we're talking about here in terms not just of endurance, but real strength. Cal, we're very, very pleased and honored. If I might also, just to express appreciation throughout the state, we have a naturalist artist who is world-known, and he's done this a limited edition of the Baltimore Oriole. And we wanted to present a copy, not just on behalf of me and my family, but of the 5 million citizens of this state. You know.
The second of many presentations to come. Governor Glendenning making a limited edition painting of the Oriole bird to Cal Ripken. And now John Miller to introduce the next dignitary.
And the ceremony being sponsored by the Baltimore Sun. So please welcome the publisher of the Baltimore Sun, Mary Junk.
Cal, on behalf of the Baltimore Sun, congratulations. We couldn't be more proud to be your newspaper. You've given us great joy and inspiration as we've covered you, beginning with your career back at high school in Aberdeen. You were one of our athletes of the week then, and this morning we declared you an immortal athlete. And we're honored to give you 2 tokens of our appreciation. First, we have someone working for us whose name is Cal. He's our cartoonist, and in yesterday's Baltimore Sun, we had a great cartoon by Cal, and this is the original that we're going to give to you. And also, at last night's game, we published a special stadium edition, and we're giving to Cal the original printing plates from that edition. The plates from this morning's Baltimore Sun have been locked up, and we're destroying all but one set, and that set is going to be auctioned through Christie's, and the proceeds will be given to a charity of Cal's naming. Again, we're very proud to be your newspaper.
Mary Junk of the Baltimore Sun. Thank you, Mary. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from the Orioles general manager. Please welcome Mr. Roland Heeman.
thank you for all the joy and great memories you are providing. Thanks for showing everyone how this great game of baseball should be played, respected, and loved. Thanks 2,131 times and more.
Now, the last couple of weeks have been a special card signing that's been going on down here at the Inner Harbor. And a huge, gigantic, the biggest card you've ever seen has been signed by everybody in the city of Baltimore and the state of Maryland. Yes, there are some, 12 million signatures on this card. Here to present the gigantic card signed by everybody here and everybody not here. Please welcome the president of the Harbor Place Merchants Association, Mike Durham.
Cal, this card was signed by many of these people here today and many of these people here for the last week, and all they wanted to know was where you were going to put this card.
Cal Ripken, as you may know, has an expansive home in Worthington Valley, but after the gifts he has received over the last few days, he may need an addition on that house.
And Cal, everybody put their address on there so you can write a thank you note to everyone on the card. Well, we're very pleased to last night to have had the President of the United States was there, Joe DiMaggio, people from all walks of life, both from Hollywood, from the White House, and you name it, to be part of the history that was taking place at Camden Yards. And also a man who's there almost every night because he's a great Orioles fan. He's been a member of the Orioles Board of Directors, and he knows Cal almost as well as anybody who's not a member of Cal's family. He wrote the outstanding baseball book, Men at Work, which features a large section on Cal and how you play the game, the way Cal Ripken plays it. He's here now to say a few words to Cal Ripken, and please welcome the author of Men at Work, syndicated columnist, ABC correspondent, here's George Will.
Thank you. In Washington, we know that the most dangerous place to stand is on a direct line between a live microphone and Newt Gingrich. In Baltimore, the most dangerous place to stand is between Cal Ripken and people who want to hear from him, so I will be as brief as possible. I think my job is to try and say what it means. 150 years ago, about the time the streak started, I think, Baltimore was 4 times the size of the nation's capital and looked more like the nation's capital than Washington did. At last this week, justice was done, because this week, Baltimore has been the nation's capital. This week, the nation turns its eyes to Baltimore to see displayed here the values that have built the country, family and hard work. Baltimore is the capital also of our national pastime. Always has been, always will be. How many of you know that the New York Yankees, good riddance to them, started here? D.C., which claims to be the national capital, has lost not 1, but 2 teams. Partly because they were run a few years ago by a man who said, "The fans like home runs, and we have assembled a pitching staff to please our fans." But it is, baseball today remains the national pastime, even though the national capital doesn't have it. Long may it stay that way. It's in part the national pastime because all of us can play it. As Bill Veeck once said, it's a great sport because you don't need to be 7 feet tall or 7 feet wide. It's a great sport because 3 strikes and you're out, and the best lawyer in Washington can't help you. And there's a sense in which we are all failed baseball players, except those, of course, who are exceptionally gifted. But I quarrel with the word gifted. Cal Ripken is, of course, gifted, but no one gets to the major leagues as a gift. Potential is given, but excellence is cultivated. It is willed into existence by hard work. And it must be hard work to play the game that is so unforgiving of even the smallest lapses. Baseball is fascinating to Americans because it is our most relentless meritocracy. If you win 10 out of every 20 games, you finish at 500. If you win 11 out of every 20 games, you win 89 games and you're a pennant contender. That's how small the difference is. And this, I think, is why the streak has struck such a chord with the American people. The American people today are in quest of standards and in search of people who embody those standards. They have found them periodically in baseball. I believe that the nicest, funniest, truest baseball story I've ever heard is about Rogers Hornsby, the greatest right-handed hitter who ever lived. He was at the plate one day, and a rookie pitcher was on the mound who was understandably terrified. And the pitcher threw 3 pitches that the umpire said were just off the plate. Ball 1, ball 2, ball 3. The rookie, flustered, shouted down to the umpire, "Those were strikes." The umpire took off his mask, looked out at the rookie and said, "Young man, when you throw a strike, Mr. Hornsby will let you know." Hornsby had become the standard. If he didn't swing, it wasn't a strike. And in the same way, Cal Ripken has become the standard, teaching the country that if everyone who teaches taught, and everyone who builds builds, and if everyone who legislates legislates, as well as Cal Ripken plays shortstop, this country would have 0 problems. And Cal not only exemplifies a rare excellence, but he exemplifies an excellence that is becoming increasingly rare in professional sports. Excellence without ostentation. No one is ever going to call him Neon Ripken. The streak, I think, arrived in the nick of time. If baseball is going to rise like a phoenix from the ashes of its recent troubles, it will be because of a few exemplary people like Cal Ripken. Mayor Sparky Anderson, the manager of the Detroit Tigers, a great manager but a somewhat shaky grammarian, once said the following thing. He said, "We try every way we can to kill the game, but for some reason, nothing nobody does never hurts it." Well, you know what he meant. This year, we didn't have a spring training. We don't have a labor agreement. We don't have a serious commissioner. We don't have a full season. And without Cal Ripken, we wouldn't have a season at all this year. And it is altogether right. It is altogether right and proper that Cal rose to this role from the ranks of the Baltimore Orioles, the team that stood alone against those who would have made a travesty of baseball with replacement players. Last spring's episode is just a bad memory. Someone once said that God gives us memory so that we can have roses in winter. Real baseball fans, and all of us here are, know that God gave us memory so that we could have Cal Ripken in winter. Winter is already coming on, and it's already football season, a time to reflect on what a superior game baseball is. In part for a reason given by another great philosopher of the game, Earl Weaver, who once said, "This ain't football, we do this every day." That's why we are all willing to give so much of our time to it. My favorite title of a baseball book is Baseball, I Gave You the Best Years of My Life. Cal Ripken is a gift that keeps on giving. He's not only giving us all a clinic in craftsmanship night after night, but he's giving the nation a chance to rise above cynicism. We live in a cynical age with a leveling impulse, an age almost afraid to admire. An age in which the rancid assumption is that the more you know about someone, the less you will think of him. Well, that's not quite right. There are some men who are like mountains, in that the closer you get to them, the larger they seem, and Cal Ripken is one of those. In the great baseball novel, The Natural, the author says at the end, "We need heroes. Otherwise, we don't know how far we can go." We still don't know how far Cal Ripken can go. But he's going to Cleveland, where tomorrow night he will play 2,132. On Saturday afternoon, he will play 2,133. And on the 23rd day of the 1998 season, he will play game 2,500. In a world full of change and flux, it's nice to know some things are constant. I know where I'll be on that day, Section 26, row CC, seat 1. And I know where Cal Ripken will be at shortstop. And we'll all be there. Thank you very much.
George Will, ladies and gentlemen. Last night on our WBAL radio broadcast, we had a new partner. I had a new partner for the 4th inning. The President of the United States came on with us. And when Cal Ripken came up in the bottom of the 4th, the count went to 3-0. And I said to the President, I said, no way they can walk Cal tonight of all nights. Maybe you could do something, Mr. President. Maybe you can order them to throw him a strike. And the President didn't want to get involved in this kind of an argument, but he did say, says, well, I know one thing for sure. Cal is a team player. If this pitch is not in the strike zone, he won't swing. He'll take a walk for the good of the team. But if it's in there, I think he's going to hit it a long ways. The pitch came in, and boom, Cal hit it a long ways. Yeah. Baltimore knows how to put on an historic occasion for sure. We've seen that the last 2 nights. And Cal Ripken knows how to rise to the occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, Cal Ripken.
Thank you very much. Somebody just said I should run around the harbor. I barely had enough energy to make it around that little ballpark last night. Oh boy. Oh, this has been one of the most overwhelming experiences of my life. So overwhelming, in fact, that I think it's hard for me to put into words. For me to put into words how I really feel and the appreciation I feel from all of you. I might echo some of the sentiments I had last night by trying to go back and think, you know, all I ever wanted to do was be a baseball player. And all I ever wanted to do was be a baseball player in this city. They say baseball is special in every other city. You know, Boston will say it's special in Boston, New York will say it's special in New York. But I really only know about Baltimore. I grew up here in Baltimore, and I know what the Orioles mean to us. And when I had a chance to be drafted, I was keeping my fingers crossed that I'd be drafted by the Orioles. And the only thing I've done during my whole career is try to conduct myself on the field and off the field like an Oriole should conduct themselves. I guess the streak's meaning is finally coming into focus. I never set out to accomplish this. This never has been a goal of mine to play in this many consecutive games. And I think on one side of it, I think it's pretty inconceivable. But I know that from the support of my teammates, past and present, they made it a whole lot easier for me to go out there and play every single day. And I forgot to thank them last night, and I want to make sure I thank them publicly today. Thank you very much. What is this? At least I can blame them for losing my train of thought. What's that? You're gonna hold it?
News Channel 2 would like to present Cal with this microphone.
I was gonna say, throughout my whole career, there's been many, many high points, but there's been a few low points, few hard points to get through. I think there was times when I was hitting 200 at the All-Star break or 200 after 300 at-bats, and there was some talk 4 or 5 years ago that maybe I should sit down and not play in a game. And sometimes I was faced with a decision, and I really had to look at myself in the mirror and say, you know, what have I been taught? What do I really believe is right? And what would the people of Baltimore want me to do? So I always came to the conclusion that I was going to go out there and grind it out, and I was going to play. And I couldn't have done it without the support of every one of you guys. This whole celebration has been pretty wild. As I said last night, I've been cheered in ballparks across the country as if I was a member of the hometown team. It's great to get support any way you can, but to be received in all those ballparks around the country the way you're received, like you're right here at home, is really special. I was going to say something and I forgot what I was going to say. That Channel 2 microphone got me again. Oh boy, oh, I know what I want to say. I just remembered. Now I forgot again. There's been, all along in this streak and all along in this celebration, there seems to be said, this type of thing only happens in Baltimore. I've heard that on a number of occasions during the streak. And to me, it kind of hit me riding around in a parade today, you know, in celebration of a consecutive game streak. I looked around and I said, I don't think this would happen in any other city besides Baltimore. Baseball is special here. I always hold baseball in the highest regard. And even though I don't feel deserving of a parade in my honor, I think that it's really neat that we all feel the way we feel about baseball, that we would come out today for that reason. And I really thank you. I guess in closing, I'd just like to go back and thank the people that really made a difference in my life. And I mentioned them last night in my remarks, but I can't talk about them enough. My dad. He's been my teacher. He's taught me how to approach. Is that mine? He's been my teacher. And I was very thankful to have him as a father for the time that he was here. I always say that I looked at him only as a coach or a manager, but I'm here to say that there's a lot of times I looked over at him and he was my father. Thank you to my mom. to be careful with this one, I'll get all choked up. She was the one that carried me around, took me to all my Little League games. She taught me all those weird batting stances you see. She was the one to put her arm around me when I had a really difficult time. She was the one that kept me going back to the ball field, and she was also the one to celebrate some of my successes. Thank you very much, Mom. And to my wife, Kelly. I thought my life was pretty stable, just being into baseball and getting the opportunity to be a baseball player, but I had a little emptiness in my life that Kelly came along and fulfilled. I think I've become a much better person, and the influence that she's had on me has just been tremendous. And I thank her for that. And my son and my daughter. My son, who is sleeping, and my daughter Rachel, who looks like she doesn't want to be here. No, she, I don't know if I told the story, but she gave me that t-shirt that I wore last night in the game. And I think that she's just becoming old enough to understand, you know, everything that's going on. We try to keep things in perspective in our house. And she came to me yesterday and presented me with the shirt. She wanted me to wear it under my jersey last night. And I think that was the reason that I came over and presented the jersey to my family and to my 2 children, because I wanted to show off my t-shirt underneath. Oh, I think I'm talked out. I really think so. What about Eddie? I don't know. Were you all at the game last night? Didn't you hear me talk about Eddie last night? You know, through the whole process, I really examined how and who I had become, and why I decided that it was important for me to play in all these games, or really why the manager wanted to put me in the ball game all these times. And through the teachings of my father and the way that he taught me to approach the game, he told me it was important to go out there each and every day, to be there, you know, to be counted on by your teammates. And it wasn't until I got to the big leagues that somebody actually showed me, you know, what that was like. And Eddie Murray was that man that showed me what it was like to be in the lineup. Forget about that, because Eddie probably has played 99% of all games that he's been in the big leagues for. I have a consecutive game streak to show for it, but I think the same principles and the same values that I put on going out there playing every day, I know that Eddie approaches the game the same way. I don't know when this is going to end. I don't know when it's going to be time for me to move over. Maybe 3,000 games? I don't know.
Right to your grave!
I'm just going to go out and keep playing just like I have all these 14 years. I'm going to try to stay as young as I can for as long as I can. But it's getting increasingly difficult as we go along. Again, I'd just like to thank all of you, and I don't know, I wish I could put it into words and express the feeling. I know my wife, my family say that I don't really show my emotions that well, and I think, you know, when we turn the numbers on the warehouse in the 5th innings, if you look at me real close, you could tell that I don't know how to show my emotions. Yeah, I put the sunglasses on so you couldn't see the tears dripping out of my eyes. But I thank you in the words that I can only say by saying thanks. That's about the only thing I know. And I thank you by the way that I approach the game, the way that I love the game, the way that I love the city, and through my actions every single day. That's what I can do. Thank you.
And though the crowd has no option here, they have, by default, given him another standing ovation. Right now, John Miller will conclude the ceremonies, and we believe we have some fireworks that will now take place as the Orioles begin to board the vessel that you may see behind the podium. And that is the Pride of Baltimore 2. The Orioles will literally sail off into the harbor.
What do you want me to put on it?
And then they will make their way to the airport as Cal Ripken and the Orioles head on to Cleveland and resume the baseball season.
The Orioles now, ladies and gentlemen, are going to board the Pride of Baltimore 2.
John Miller now filling the audience in on the details that I just shared with you. And Cal Ripken begins to assemble the enormous number of gifts that he has received, but here he is basking one more moment in the greatest gift he can receive, and that is the adoration and the love of the fans, the love they have shared in unlimited amounts over these past couple of days, these past couple of weeks. Obviously tired and worn out emotionally, if not physically, at this point. Cal once again at the podium, very gracious, and once again the moment where he perhaps felt a clutch in his throat and a tear in his eye when he thanked his father and his mother and his wife Kelly for all they have done for him over the years in molding not only the baseball player but very much the man, very much the individual, the rare individual who was able to take this, his very personal accomplishment, and turn it into something that every Baltimore Oriole fan and now every Baltimorean can feel an enormous degree of pride over. And what is becoming a very familiar song, One Moment in Time, which has become one prolonged and one glorious moment in time over these last few nights, and now this afternoon continues to play here at the amphitheater in Baltimore. As Cal Ripken, his current, his former teammates, sharing a handshake, a hug, a high five. These are moments that these Oriole players who are currently Cal's teammates will reflect back on when their hair is gray and their careers are behind them. And they will tell their grandchildren, yes, I too was part of history. I was there when Cal went by Lou Gehrig. I thought some of Cal's more remarkable comments were his simplest comments. All I ever wanted to do was play baseball, and play baseball for the Baltimore Orioles. And perhaps the magic of the entire moment is the fact that one man's dream has come to pass and has come to evolve into one of this city's finest moments, shared not just by Cal and his family, but by every adoring Oriole fan, every baseball fan, and many who have never been sports or baseball fans before, but who have simply been overwhelmed by not just the attention that has been massed upon Cal Ripken, but the gracious way in which he has received that attention and reflected it back to his fans. Perhaps the best expression of his ability to reflect attention back to his fans was his now historic trot around Camden Yards last night in between the fourth inning, when he just gave into the moment and took yet another curtain call, trotted around the field, took time to hug fans, shake their hands, share a tear or two, a laugh or two, a moment or 22 with Oriole fans, with baseball fans, and with all of the many millions of viewers who watch around the country. Lou Gehrig had his moment on Lou Gehrig Day. Cal Ripken has now had his many moments as he now steps down off of the dais, and he will head back toward the Pride of Baltimore 2, where the Orioles will sail into the harbor. Obviously not late enough in the day to sail into the sunset, and I don't think Cal would want to take a cruise into the sunset right now, because he made it evidently clear that the streak will continue to grow. This one moment in time will continue to become one evolving streak. Where it stops, that's anybody's guess right now. It is not Cal's concern. He concluded his comments today by saying he wants to thank the fans in an ongoing way, the way he has always thanked them, not so much with his words, but with his actions of showing up and playing every day and every inning. A work ethic that he has taken to new levels and put forward as really the model example. A very simple principle to show up to work every day. But in all fairness to Cal, this is not a man who merely puts on his uniform. He is a man who shows up and performs at the top level every day. And there, standing between or beneath the Streak Week banner, as you see some of the highlights from the parade earlier this afternoon that led to this climactic moment at the amphitheater in the harbor. Cal Ripken sharing the streak, the 13 years, the afternoon, just the overall glorious feeling of unity that has enveloped Baltimore in these last 72 hours. And Cal has done it all with elan, with a smile on his face, with an occasional tear in his eye. And now he will do it with his teammates by his side and the applause of Baltimoreans resounding in his ears. These will be moments that will live in Cal's family history for years to come. These will be moments that live in Baltimore history for years to come. And as unfair as it may seem, this was one of Cal's few days off this baseball season, this strike-shortened baseball season, when days off are hard to come by. And Cal shared this day with his fans as they brought together one last moment in time that they could have and they could share. A man who has highlighted family values and a work ethic, two ordinary values taken to extraordinary heights over these past few days, these past few years by Cal Ripken in Baltimore. Liz and Dave.
All right,
All right, Gerry, thanks very much.
The celebration is not over. They're off on the Pride of Baltimore 2, and of course, celebration this afternoon in Aberdeen and this evening in Aberdeen, and we'll have that for you coming up tonight at 5 o'clock.
Indeed, we will. Thanks for joining us today, everybody.